Sam Mellinger is here. So am I, Blair Kerkhoff, and we're going to talk Royals. Sam, things are going well for the Royals when the disappointment of the last few days is they didn't complete a sweep of two of the better teams in baseball, the Red Sox and the White Sox.
Yeah.
They took 2 out of 3 from both, but were in a position to sweep both. Didn't do it, but still 4-2 last week. Pretty good week for the Royals.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a continuation, right? Like, I think right before that is maybe the Atlanta series, where they're actually the Yankees series. Even though they lost 3 out of 4. I thought that was kind of the beginning of you could see signs that they were about to pull out of it. And
offensively, especially.
Yes, yeah, and then the way that they anyway, yeah, and then Atlanta, but Atlanta's terrible. But it was important for them to kind of build on that, I think. And anytime, the White Sox are in a little bit of a funk, but they gave up. The Royals gave up 5 runs in 3 games. I mean, that's pretty impressive, especially when a lot of the freak out has been about the starting rotation.
Right, 2 of those pitchers, we're talking Dylan G and Danny Duffy, giving them what, was it 8, 9 scoreless innings in those
Something
two?
like that,
Something
yeah.
like that, yeah. So, I mean.
On pitch counts. And,
great. All right, so, but maybe the immediate concern right now is Alex Gordon.
Yeah.
And we haven't heard anything about the extent of the wrist injury, but that has the potential to be kind of a troubling injury for him.
No, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's sort of like obliques can kind of, continue on, and a wrist injury for a guy who's, and you talked about this earlier when we were just talking off camera about his throwing hand too, but it's also a wrist for a hitter. I mean, that's a big deal, and it's the wrist that he had surgery on, a year and a half ago,
right,
or whatever. So yeah, I mean, that's definitely a point of concern. But if the concussion, sometimes we know that symptoms can be delayed a little bit, but if the concussion's clear, they really dodged one.
Absolutely,
right?
And when you saw it live, that's the first thing you thought was, we know Alex Gordon tends to, what does Luke Hochevar call it?
Total Gordo move.
Yeah. So he tends to lay there after a collision with the fence or any kind of fall.
Yeah.
But this time I thought, because we saw the head hit the tarp.
Yeah, and right the back of the
Yeah, so that's my first thought was, he's out. This is legitimately out, and this could be big trouble. But at least right now, it doesn't appear to be that way.
Yeah, and I've watched it a few times, the replay, and the wrist, he's kind of twisting around in the air, and he does jam down, a lot of body weight and a lot of, momentum on that wrist. And if you watch the replay again of him getting up, you can tell that wrist was hurting right away. But you made another good point when we were talking off camera that sometimes, maybe this is retrospect, but the sunglasses didn't fly off, and sometimes like if you have that big whiplash, that can happen. So I don't know, maybe we're looking for good signs.
Yeah, maybe, but fingers crossed for him. Because he certainly has dealt with his share of stuff over the last couple of years.
Yeah, and not just that, but like a concussion is. I mean, that stuff can be really serious beyond baseball.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, hopefully he's all right.
I wonder, what did you think of Ventura yesterday? It's funny that the Royals lost the game he started. They won the Duffy and Dylan G games, but they lost the Ventura game. But I didn't think he was bad. It's been kind of typical, though, for him this year with the walks. It seems like he pitched well enough that they could have won, but he didn't pitch them in a position that they were absolutely going to win because he pitched that day.
Sure. I mean, I think he was 6 innings, 3 runs. I think, which, that's fine. But I think, here's what I thought. Okay, so his previous start was against Boston, and he was like 5 1/3 or 5 2/3 and gave up
4, I think. 3 or 4.
And
they won the game 8-4.
Yeah, and one of them was that ball that deserved to get crushed, that Shaw hit a long ways to right field. But after that game, kind of the talk was, Ned said it's the best I've seen him throw all year. And, I think he legitimately was better than his numbers in that start. And this one, I thought he wasn't as good as his numbers. 6 runs, 3 innings, or 6 innings, 3 runs, you can win that. But 4 walks. And that's the thing, like, when he's been rocky, it's been because of the walks. And he's got too good of stuff to, like, try and nibble. And, he needs to go at guys. And I think that's a really big barometer for how he's going to do.
And to me, the pitch that got him beat on Sunday was the 0-2 pitch to Melky Cabrera that he just caught too much of the plate with. And I after we saw it in the Fox box, I'm thinking, how in the world does he throw an 0-2 pitch there to a hitter like Milky Cabrera.
Good hitter, yeah. 0-2.
He's not going to miss that.
Yeah, I mean 0-2 they're going to be aggressive, and an 0-2 pitch over the meat of the plate is worse than an 0-0 pitch over the meat of the plate because they're going after. And it's little things like that. Like sometimes you can do this with any start with any pitcher, but it's that pitch on Sunday, and then whatever that was on Tuesday against Boston, it was that one pitch to Shaw that was right down the middle with two guys on, one of which he put on with a, because he hit the guy, so you make your own bed in some ways. But yeah, it's just little things. He's got so much talent. I thought before the year that he was in for a really big season, and statistically that's maybe not possible at this point, but I think he can still be good.
I think so too.
For 4 months.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so Twins, Star Series with the Twins. They're going to have two of their top starters going. Kennedy and Volquez will be in this series, and the White Sox come to Kansas City following the week. Is this one of those, you can't expect a sweep, but
yeah, that's what I think.
You can't expect it, but they'll be favored. They'll be a betting favorite, I think, in all 3 games.
By a bunch.
Yeah.
The Twins couldn't. I don't think they'll be a betting favorite much.
At all. But they kind of have to win the series, don't they?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, like baseball's such a funny game. There will be people, if the Royals win 2 out of 3, there will be people disappointed. Like, what's wrong? You got to sweep this terrible team. But like baseball's such a weird. Like a major league team could play its AAA team and not sweep and be. It's just the way that baseball works. But got to win the series. You got to win the series. The Twins pitching is so terrible. And the White Sox, we've talked a lot. They've been leading the division the whole year. They've got a tough stretch between Sunday and when they come to Kansas City. They've got a 4-game series against Cleveland, including a doubleheader Monday as we're taping this. I mean, they've got some big games coming up too.
Right.
It's a really big stretch. I mean, I know it's May, but these games count just as much as September, and this is a big stretch in the American League Central.
Okay. So follow the coverage of the Royals, the Chiefs, everything in the print editions of the Kansas City Star and online at kansascity.com.